Hello and welcome. This is How to Healthcare. I'm your host, Emily Persley, and today I have with me Cameron James. Hey, Cameron, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Great. Thank you so much for being here. I am so excited to talk to you because not only do we get to learn about what you do, but it's also a nonprofit. So we get to learn all about Butterfly Dreams Farm that's located in Watkinsville, Georgia. There's a lot of these types of therapies out and available, but this is what you guys do here locally. So I can't wait to learn more about it. So let's talk about a little bit of your background first.
Yeah, absolutely. So I kind of started working with horses around middle school, and I started working with people with disabilities in high school range, so pretty close to each other. And I actually started at Butterfly about 2.5 years ago as a
Oh, wow.
volunteer. So I started helping with lessons, just kind of getting involved a little bit, decided that, oh my goodness, I love this so much. This is incorporating everything that I love. It has horses, it has people with disabilities. I'm outside. It's got all of the great things in it. So I became an intern, and then shortly after that I started working for the farm doing barn chores, so just cleaning up after the horses, making sure the barn was in pristine condition. And then I actually got hired as a therapeutic riding instructor this past October. So
That is awesome. That is so cool. So let's first talk about then too, what is Butterfly Dreams Farm so that we get an idea of what the organization is.
yeah, absolutely. So, like you said, we are a nonprofit, and we were established in 2005 on a little 9-acre property out in Watkinsville, Georgia. Originally, the farm was founded in the name of Kat Thompson, who is our owner and our founder, and the name of her foster daughter, Allie. Allie just experienced so much joy and was able to learn how to walk and how to talk through equine therapy. So, Kat founded Butterfly Dreams in her name.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Can I just first say that I was checking you guys out and I found you on Instagram. And let me say, if you want your heart to just melt and have the biggest smile on your face, go watch the videos that you guys put on social media. That, oh my goodness, to hear the laughter and to see the pure joy of your participants there is just, it'll make anybody's day. It's like, I couldn't even have words. I mean, like tears were coming to my eyes because it just made me so happy. So thank you so much for letting us see a piece of what you guys do, even on social media. It's so amazing. So we want to talk about all the things that like your volunteers do and everything else. But first we want to talk about, who is this for? So like what type of disabilities does Butterfly Dreams Farm work with? And maybe some like the age range too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we'll talk a little bit, I believe, about hippotherapy and therapeutic riding and kind of the differences. But in general, we pretty much serve anybody. As long as you have a disability, we are able to serve you. So, we serve some riders that have anxiety or depression, all
Mm.
the way to people that have more physical ailments like cerebral palsy or even brain injuries and kind of the effects of that on their body. So it really is a huge, huge range of disabilities that we serve, and we serve all ages as well. So hippotherapy pretty much serves just pediatric clients, but therapeutic riding serves all ages. You can start at 4 years old and work your way up until you're 100. So we actually have quite a few adult riders and also a bunch of little kiddos that are so adorable that you mentioned we have on our social media.
That's amazing. That is so neat that you guys can provide so much for such a large age range and so many different abilities. I want to talk about, you said you're an instructor there, so you are PATH certified. What does that mean as a PATH certified instructor?
So PATH stands for Professional Association of Therapeutic Horsemanship International. Super long name, so shortened to PATH. But it is an international organization that upholds standards. They uphold just kind of what the ideal is for us to be serving, whether it comes to what our farm should look like, what's the safest way for us to do lessons and to serve this community, to, hey, here is all of these updated things and all of these new studies that have come out. And they're
Mm,
able to hold conferences every year and make sure that we as instructors are able to have a community to go to and to continue to learn. So it's fantastic because it kind of, you know, bonds all of us together as we're certified underneath them and really helps people to serve in our community. There's a huge group chat basically where, instructors can ask simple questions, we can ask harder questions, really whatever we need. So it is fantastic to have an international organization. So they have therapeutic riding out in like China, which is crazy to think about. They are
wow.
mostly based in the United States, but they do have places all over the world serving this community.
Wow. So are there other than qualifications? So if someone comes to the farm, is there someone else that would have other qualifications that we would end up meeting with there?
Yep. So we pretty much are only certified under PATH. So
Okay.
myself and the other therapist are certified specifically under PATH just because they are the leading organization in doing what we do.
So you talked about the equine therapy that you guys do. What is that? We want to find out more about during just specifically equine therapy and some of its health benefits that it has with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, PATH kind of has this huge umbrella of what equine therapy can even mean, because it really is such a broad range of something that you can do.
Okay.
So, it's really crazy because it really is just using the therapeutic benefits of horses. They are fight or flight animals. They
Mm.
have such a huge magnetic field that they can really sense what's going on around them to be able to fight or to flight. So that really makes them able to sense what's going on around them and kind of be a tall tale for what are our riders experiencing? What are they maybe not saying that's going on? And that horse is reading it, but we're not. So they're kind of like bridging that gap between what's going on in their mind and their body and how they're feeling and kind of what's going on outside of them. And you can do a boatload of different things with horses. You can do hippotherapy, you can do therapeutic riding, you can do equine assisted psychotherapy. There is a bunch of different options for equine therapy. So it is a very hard term to define because it can be so, so many things.
Wow, that's amazing. I had no idea. So then specifically for you guys, what are some of the health and wellness benefits that you do see from just that one therapy that you guys have?
So we see improvement, like I said, even with Allie. We see improvement in walking because the horse's movement is actually the same exact movement that our hips make whenever we walk. So we can alter the pace of the horse's walk to kind of adjust how we want our walk to be.
Oh.
So we see strengthened muscles, we see strengthened core. They're using those muscles that they use when they walk without even having to bear weight on their own legs. So we see people that gain mobility, they gain confidence. There's a bajillion mental benefits to doing this. Just with increased empathy, you have to have behavioral regulation. So for
Mm,
some people with ADHD or other disabilities where behavioral regulation is really hard, this is perfect for them because they have to be able to control those impulses and make sure that they're being kind to the horse.
mm,
So we also see a lot of riders who have speech improvements and overall just confidence in general. I mean, I know that's kind of something we'll talk about later, but I have a few riders that are in wheelchairs, and you kind of have to put yourself in their shoes to be like,
mm.
they are used to people looking down on them to talk to them. Whenever they're
Wow.
on a horse, everyone has to look up to them to communicate with them. So that in
Wow.
itself is just something that's so empowering that they might be bound to a wheelchair for the rest of their life, but they are able to control a huge animal that is like totally, they have impulses. They have to make sure that they are reading their behavior. They're becoming, one with the horse. So it's really it has so so many benefits, and that one in particular, especially for people in wheelchairs, it is so encouraging and just confidence inducing with that. So
Wow. That is amazing. There's so many benefits to that. So then since we were talking about equine therapy, is it different than the hippotherapy?
Yes. So equine therapy is kind of the broad range of that term that we use to be the umbrella. And underneath that umbrella, we have hippotherapy and therapeutic riding.
Okay.
So would you like me to talk about that difference now?
Absolutely, both, yes.
Awesome. Okay. So, hippotherapy, just to kind of get it down to the basics and make it easier to understand, hippotherapy is done by licensed professionals. So, that's a speech therapist, a physical therapist, an occupational therapist, or a psych. I don't think it's a psychologist, but so it's done by someone that has a certification in something else. And they can do physical therapy, they can do occupational therapy, and even speech on these horses. So they are really trying to have clinical goals. So if the goal for the rider is strengthen core, they'll do certain exercises to strengthen the core of that rider. Right now, we have a speech pathologist that does hippotherapy, Miss Cat, who's the founder and the owner and everything. She's Wonder Woman. But she does hippotherapy on our property and she is a speech pathologist. So her goals are mostly speech oriented. So that's going to be working on TH sounds. It's going to be working on, making sure we're communicating and not only answering questions about ourselves, but asking the other people questions. So those skills are more measurable. And hippotherapy, I kind of like to put people in the perspective of our clients, but if you have a child who is going into a clinical setting and they're trying to work on speech, it's kind of like a wall is put up because they're intimidated, they're nervous, they're like, this is scary, it's not as fun. But then you bring them onto our property and they're working on speech, they're getting therapy done on a horse. So they're getting to have fun, they're getting to play games, we do a bunch of sensory things, and they're working on their therapeutic goals, which is so awesome. So it's great because it makes therapy fun. And for a lot of our kids, they can't say that for their other day-to-day therapy services that they receive. And then on the other hand, therapeutic riding, it's also kind of being moved towards adaptive riding, the new term. Therapeutic riding, people hear that and think, oh, I'm doing therapy with them. But I'm not. I'm not a licensed therapist. I don't have any LPC or anything like that. So our goals for therapeutic riding are just to learn how to steer our horse, how to stop our horse. So
Mm.
our goals are riding based. So they're focusing on how to use their reins correctly, how to push down into their heels, alignment things, stuff like that. So the the benefits of therapeutic riding might be therapeutic, so they might see an increased core. They will because they're riding a horse and they have to sit up tall. But they might see benefits like that where that might be their personal goals is I want to make sure that I'm sitting up tall, but that doesn't necessarily mean that is my goals for them, if that
Mhm.
makes sense. So
Yeah.
my goals for them are going to be we're going to stop our horse and make sure that we're in correct equestrian alignment and all of that stuff. So they are two very different types of equine therapy, and those are the two ones that we do on Butterfly Dreams Farm.
Wow. Wow. That mean it just encompasses so much. And
Yes.
like you said, I love that you highlight that sometimes it gets hard when some of these kids have been in and out of therapy or different doctors' offices just to have a different experience to be able to learn something, to train their bodies to do things, but in a way that's more fun and enjoyable for them. I was going to ask next, like, what are some more health and wellness benefits for people with disabilities? But I think you covered a lot of it. Can you think of something else that maybe someone that is on this journey that has a disability, or maybe someone that's listening that has a grandchild or a child or a neighbor or somebody else that they were like, this sounds interesting. How can I tell them maybe some more health and wellness benefits or to help them along on their wellness journey?
Yeah, absolutely. So, kind of like I said before, there are just so many benefits, and it kind of depends on your disability and what your goals are. Um, Overall, I think it's it is just I'm a very biased person because I do think it is extremely beneficial. It can be even just a recreational activity that their granddaughter or they themselves do, because, like you were saying, like that, getting those therapeutic benefits, but in a fun way. if that
Hmm.
makes sense. So, they're getting mental, emotional, cognitive benefits, they're getting physical benefits. It's kind of a workout to ride a horse correctly and make sure that, you're sitting up tall and you're using your legs and you're focusing on where your body is. So, um, yeah, I can't even think of like one specifically for someone that might be on this journey. You can work on posture, strength, flexibility, muscle symmetry, and a bunch of other things, as well as, those non clinical benefits, just like
Hmm.
enjoyment, just having a great time. And what's great about even therapeutic or adaptive writing is one of the main things that we do is we adapt our lesson to how you're doing that day. So, for a lot of clients that have hard days mentally, sometimes their disabilities are like a roller coaster.
Hmm.
And that means, you know what? If you're having a rough day, that is totally fine. What we can do is we will walk around our beautiful pastures, just take in the scenery and not have all the pressures of life on you. So, one of my writers, she has a lot of pressure on learning to walk again after a brain injury and
Hmm.
learning to redo all of these skills that she once had and then lost. And therapeutic writing, yes, we work on those things and she's gaining those skills, but this is also a place where there is no pressure on you to continuously progress. If we are progressing for a month and then we regress for a month, that is okay with me. We do
Hmm.
not have, all of these pressures of, I think that's a huge part of people with disabilities. It's okay, we're going to do this and this and this to all get better, to try to live better, to try to, be more normal. And it's like,
Hmm.
that's not what's always the best option. Sometimes they just need to enjoy life and they just need to have something that's fun that doesn't have a pressure on them to constantly progress, to constantly think about getting better.
Yeah. That all sounds so highly individualized. So is this all just individual work, or do you have like group sessions, or how do y'all do that?
Yes. So currently, hippotherapy is all one on one. So it is one client with the one therapist. But for therapeutic writing, you can actually do group lessons. A lot of my writers are actually totally beginners. They've not really ridden a horse before. So until they gain the necessary skills needed to do a group lesson, then we will probably think about doing a group lesson. But for the most part, it is a one on one for hippotherapy and therapeutic writing.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to put you on the spot. So I don't
Yeah.
know if there's a story that comes to mind without sharing personal information, of course, that really kind of touched your heart, that made you stick around for all this time, or that where you decided this is what I want to get certified in, or even never since you've been certified. If there's like a certain story that has just really touched your heart.
So nothing like individualized comes to mind. It's exactly what you were talking about earlier. What has kept me in this profession and what keeps me going whenever those days are exhausting and making sure that I'm keeping the rider safe and that we are doing the best thing for them is really just the smiles and the joy. Like you're
Mm.
saying on our social media, you can just see like a little glimpse into a lesson and how these kids' faces just brighten up. And that is 100% what keeps me going. That joy and seeing, the fruition of trying to work hard, pairing them with the correct horse, making sure that everything goes well, making sure we have volunteers, all of that. And it
Hmm.
all comes into fruition when we just see that little glimpse of just the smile. That is enough for me to continue for the rest of my life. The joy that it brings all of my riders makes me so, so, so happy.
Oh, I can imagine. I mean, seriously, after just seeing that one video, I could see why that would keep you around for a long time, because it was amazing just
Mhm.
to see, to hear the laughter. I mean, like, who doesn't like to hear laughter from a
Exactly.
child of just such pure joy?
Mhm.
Especially in this day and age. It's so
Yes.
good to
Well,
hear
and that's
pure
what it
joy.
is. It is pure joy. It is just so much excitement. Like I've been saying, they have a lot of hard days. They have a lot that they have to work on. They are working consistently to make sure that they get to even just live, and then they get to come out to our property and have so much joy and just kind of get to let it all go and experience what it's like to be around horses and to get to be outside. It makes you just so joyful, and all of our volunteers continuously come back for that exact same thing is just that little, wow, look at this joy that I'm bringing to this
Yeah.
child or even adult.
Yeah, I mean, they overcome so much adversity when, when you're dealing with different abilities and disabilities, and it's just, yeah, to be able to come with that, to have the joy. You're talking about the volunteers, so let's talk a little bit about Butterfly Dreams Farm, and what it is that volunteers do. Since it is a nonprofit, I do like to highlight nonprofits. So let's talk a little bit about the farm and ways that volunteers or people that can donate or anything that's happening. You guys have the horses there. There's all kinds of stuff going on. Let's talk about that.
Yes, absolutely. So we'll talk about kind of our full encompassing farm first. We don't have just horses. We do have a donkey. We have um, one of our favorite things. We have like a bunch of chickens. We have a bunch. We have three peacocks. We have goats. We have sheep. We have guinea pigs. We have
Wow.
rabbits. We have every animal you could ever imagine on our property. And I think that is kind of what makes us really charming. Is that you wouldn't think that this little property out in Watkinsville, it's, has all these fun little animals. So it's kind of a great sensory input for a lot of our
Mm,
riders to be able to go there. And while they're riding, they're hearing a chicken, go crazy, and they're hearing the goats be silly and all of that. So that is always really fun. But
mm.
focusing on the volunteers, our property runs on volunteers. Any equine therapy property runs on volunteers. So even if you're listening to this and you're in California, all the way across, the United States, if there's an equine therapy facility there, they run on volunteers. So for all of our hippotherapy lessons, we have to have three volunteers. We have to
Wow.
have someone that leads the horse, and we have to have two people that are called side walkers. So they are walking next to the horse. So they are there to help support the kids so that they can focus on, just working on speech or making sure that if they get the wiggles, they don't, flop off a horse because at the end of the day, they are still riding a horse, and obviously that can be a little bit dangerous. But so we have experienced volunteers with horses that normally are horse leaders. And then we have people that have never seen a horse before, that have never touched a horse before, that come out and will volunteer. And therapeutic riding, it's pretty much the same. It just kind of depends on the ability of the rider. If they are working on steering and they are accomplished and they know how to steer, they won't have a horse leader. Or if they are more balanced and all they're struggling with is anxiety, then they don't need a sidewalker and a horse leader. So it
Mm.
is just me and the rider. So it kind of depends a little bit on the disability for therapeutic riding, but we still always, always, always need volunteers. And we have a bunch of other opportunities as well that we're trying to kind of kickstart up. We have people that help out with barn chores. So if you're busy during the day, but you still just want to get outside and get around the horses, we have people that will come out and help clean the stalls. They'll help scrub the water buckets. They'll help do hay, stuff like that. And then we also have barn work days where we have volunteers come out, help us kind of clean up the property, or even we just uploaded a new website and we're
Mm.
trying to get new pictures of all of our horses. So one day this month or next month, we're going to have a bunch of volunteers come out, clean all the horses up, and take new pictures of our horses. So it's kind of fun. They can either work with the kids or they can do these one-on-ones because, if you're so busy, but you still want to serve and help what we do, we have those barn cleanup days and stuff like that for them to be able to help.
That sounds so fun, and a lot of different opportunities to be able to
Yes.
get involved. That sounds like a lot of fun. Do you guys have any other needs right now, for the
Yes.
farm?
So, like you stated before, we are a nonprofit. So, we always have opportunities when it comes to donations, especially. We have a couple of different options for donations and kind of like sponsorship options. So, you can sponsor a horse. Unfortunately, horses are very expensive to upkeep. They have medicine, they have shoes that they get, they have a bajillion other things that
Mm,
that they need to function well. And as much as we prioritize our riders, we prioritize our horses a lot and make sure that their health is tip top. And if they aren't doing well, they get a week off to make sure that they're doing, that they recover from whatever injuries they have or whatever. Also, we have rider scholarships and sponsorships available, so you can sponsor a specific rider. So if you know someone that rides, you can send them money and make sure that they're continually being able to ride. That is something about our property is we try to serve our community no matter the ability to pay. So a huge thing about our property is that we are always needing people to help with scholarships and donations and making sure that we can help those riders get this joy and experience this change of life, even if they can't pay for it. Because,
Mm,
like I said, before, they're experiencing so many other therapies. They may need a new wheelchair, they may need a new medicine, they may need all these new things to keep up with their disability. And it's hard for them to pay for recreational activities like this. So we
mm,
always appreciate donations, especially towards specific riders. And then we
yeah.
also just have general donations that contribute to just the sustainability and growth of our program, that help towards operational expenses, facility maintenance, program development, that sort of a thing. So, as much as we need volunteers, we always need donations, and we also just need people to spread the word about us.
Mm.
We're such a little small property, and we do so many great big things that just spreading the word is good enough for us sometimes. If that's all you can do and that's all you can kind of donate, then we will accept that as well.
Of course, of course. So how can someone get in touch with you guys? Like your website, or if they want to call or email or reach out to someone because they may be interested in putting their child or themselves into this type of therapy or activities, or what's the best way for people to get in touch with anyone there?
Yeah, absolutely. So, our website is butterflydreamsfarm.org. So, you're more than welcome to go on there, and we have a bunch more information on there about each program specifically and just kind of our property in general. And then, if you want to email us, our email is office@butterflydreamsfarm.org. And then we also do have a phone number. It's 706 310 4103. So we have phone. You can contact us by calling us or by email. Normally, that's a little bit better just so we kind of have a record of what you're looking for, or even just going to our website and just filling out the Connect with Us form. So, three different ways to contact us.
Yes, and that's good to have when you're really busy working on a farm. I can only
Yes.
imagine. It's really hard to be able to answer phone calls. You got a lot to tend to, a lot of things
Yes.
going on there.
Absolutely. And yes, we are excited to have our new website uploaded with all that updated information and a lot of fun stuff coming, like blogs and newsletters and all that good stuff. And then if you are looking for an equine therapy program near you and you don't live in Georgia or near Watkinsville, definitely just Googling equine therapy and seeing, what is around you is a great way to get in touch with that as well.
That's excellent. Thank you for telling us about that, that it's just everywhere. There's all these types of therapies going on. It's just amazing for just an extra benefit sometimes for those with disabilities to be able to get involved and have a fun activity, do a little therapy on the side, make some friends. I mean, it just
Yes.
sounds amazing.
Yep. It is. It's absolutely amazing.
Well, is there anything else about butterfly dreams or that you do that we didn't discuss that you feel would be important for everyone to know more about?
I think we pretty much covered it all. I can't think of anything else to add to that.
Well, I really strongly, strongly suggest that everyone go and follow you. You guys are on Instagram,
Yes.
Facebook.
We are on Facebook as Butterfly Dreams Farm Equine Therapy. So that's kind
Okay.
of our full title. And then same thing for Instagram. We love to have people following us and kind of getting a little tidbit into what we do on a daily basis.
Well, I really appreciate you telling us all about Butterfly Dreams Farm and everything about that you do there. And it just sounds like amazing opportunity for those that, a wide range of abilities and disabilities and a lot of benefits though that can come from this type of therapy and great to add into someone's health and wellness journey.
Yes. Thank you so, so much for having me. I loved getting to share about what I do.